Hello, everyone, and welcome back to War for the Crown Songbird Scion Saboteur. This is session 28, and last we left off, the party split down two roads with Cassidon and Anna going towards the Gold Coast Highway and Bridge, where they fought a very lovely and large snake creature. And we had Tavenet and Desmond heading down to Stockies for a little bit of mystery and town justice. But first, we're gonna just quickly find our way back to the Gold Coast Canyon, where this isn't the music we should be continuing with. We should go with, I don't know, this one. I realized after the session, as I described this map as a barren river, or dried up river, because that's what the map looked like at the time, is very much, this is water. This is very much water. And we'll say, for the sake of things, Cassidon is not drowning, but rather, waist deep water. And in turn as well, to kind of go back and not retcon anything, but Anna, could you give me a heal check?
Sure. Oh, I'm awesome at these.
Yeah, I realize.
I'm great at these.
Okay. That is fair to make up for my previous descriptions. You would not know for yourself that you are or have been poisoned by the gold pebble.
Okay.
And you both may take it away. You stand there, there's the corpse of one of the acolytes. The gold pebble is dead. Both of you are pretty hurt from its attack.
Anastasia, how many people can your horse hold?
Um. Well, I mean, us two fairly well. I don't know about a third.
I suppose for now we should take take something from the acolyte's possession, just to, in the event that the body just suddenly disappears, at least we have proof that we have located the acolyte.
Yeah, they should have a medallion on them.
Could you search their body? I'm just gonna go take some precaution, and I'm gonna go ahead and take out my harvester's kit and attempt to take out some organs from the giant-ass snake.
And I will slide down and start inspecting the body, looking for any sort of identifier or notification that this is one of the acolytes we're looking for.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, we're gonna start with you, Anna. As you look, can you give me a perception?
Alrighty, perception. Doot. Damn it, 13.
13. Okay. You can recognize the figure as one of the missing acolytes, the Abidaran acolytes from Lotheater. The remains are half devoured, but are identifiable. You find on them, yeah, they'll be wearing a pendant of some sort, in the form of a this like kind of shiny circle, sort of emblazoned emblem on their belt, which is also strapped to a fine kind of scabbard with a what appears to be a set of tools, almost with a grinning wolf face on it. And you can also hear, albeit very faintly, with a 13, you can't make out what it is, but very faintly, you can hear the sounds of muffled shouting, almost, from further down the river.
Is it distress shouting?
It's hard to tell, but you can definitely hear something.
Okay, I will excuse me. I will put everything that I found into my pouch. So I got the emblem and then tools with a smiling wolf on them.
Yep.
And then what was the other thing? I feel like there was one more.
The emblem was on the belt, and the tool set was attached to a like kind of tied together with a scabbard alongside the belt.
Okay. I spelled that wrong, but oh well. Yeah, I will take all of that and I will shove it into my bag and get to my feet and say, Cassidon, I hear more shouting. I'm not too sure what it is, but I can go check it out and come back if you want.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Might be a survivor, but be careful. We don't know if there's only one, if there's more of these guys roaming around.
Will do, and I will. Is it? Can I get a rough estimate of how far away it is? Like, would it be more efficient for me to go on horseback, or should I
maybe
go by
like
foot?
30 feet off the map, or 10 feet, 15 feet off the map.
Okay, I will go to the tree line, and I would like to stealth that direction.
Sure.
$26.
You are hidden from any sights.
Where's it? I'd be ninja. Okay, cool. Yep.
And you begin sneaking your way forward. It's not long before you can find what appears to be an outcropping in the stone embankment of the river. And you can see another acolyte within. They are shivering in the cave and look very scared, and also look like they've been there for a bit.
Okay. Does it looking inside, does it look like they're trapped, or does it look like they're hiding?
It looks like hiding.
Okay. I would just like to roll a perception check just to get an idea, make sure that something's not hiding in the shadows or something like that before I try to get them to leave.
Sure.
$14.
Looks fairly empty. It looks to be a small outcropping into the stone. They seem to be the only person in there.
Okay. And the surrounding area doesn't look like there's anything waiting to pounce?
Doesn't seem to be.
Okay. Anastasia will step forward. What was the name of the church? I don't recall.
Um, well, Lady Peril sent you. That's her name. She's the leader of the church. Ba, 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 ba. Well, it's the largest temple in the county, the Grand Bank of Abadar.
That's right. Hello. Hello. You're fine. I'm from the Grand Bank. I'm here to help. Are you okay?
They're, sitting there kind of maybe taken aback by the sudden words and presence of someone. Um, uh, but they say in like a shaky voice, "Oh, is that creature dealt with? Oh, it attacked me and my fellow acolyte along the road."
Yes, it has been dealt with. Myself and one other person have taken care of it. Your friend has fallen. I have some of his belongings. We thought both of you were gone and had intended on bringing them back to the church, but come with us. We'll escort you back.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And they kind of hold a hand up for you to help them up.
Oh yeah, I will 100% help this person out, especially if they look very weak and
They do.
yeah.
All right, you begin helping them back. As you are helping them back, Cassidon, would you like to give me a survival, please?
Yep. And then +2, since I'm using a harvester's kit, so 30.
30. Okay. All right, let's see something here. Okay, you are able to take out the venom sac and are able to successfully harvest 3 doses of gold pebble venom. It does take you a while. You're sitting there for a good maybe 10, 11 minutes. So Anna and the acolyte are well back while Cassidon is still working. Uh, but you are able to get those 3 doses.
So, as my guy's harvesting, it's like, yep, that's a venom sac. I say it seemed to be fine. Didn't show any signs of being infected. Okay, I'll just keep these on me. These could be useful for many reasons. Just talking to himself. And then he's like, well, I harvest this. I wonder what else I can harvest. I guess he's going to see if he can maybe chip away at its golden scales, for pocketing reasons.
Okay. Um, sure. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, that's interesting. So, are you wanting to harvest it for a trophy for yourself, or are you wanting to harvest it for an actual, use?
Um, well, it was more like to see if I can sell its scales. Would that be more trophy-ish? Obviously, I'm
That
trying to cover the lower areas.
Yeah, well, if you're wanting to take off its head, let's see. Because there are a few rules on this that I'm reading. There's getting trophies, and then there's harvesting monster parts. Harvesting monster parts seems like it requires the harvest parts feat, but harvesting a trophy. Let's see here. As I read what would be the best way to go about this. Okay. Give me a survival again.
Alright.
24. You begin to cut away at the scales. The very few golden scales that there are. And as you begin cutting away, your tools occasionally scrape against the gold, leaving marks. And
I do have
whether
a
you
dagger. So would that be a better method of harvesting?
that would allow you to harvest if you did not have harvesting tools.
Okay. So I had a dagger. So could I switch to that?
No, he's saying that the harvesting tools is the best option you have.
Yeah.
Oh wait, the literal harvesting tools. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll do that.
But as you begin to cut into it and remove the scales, you stop for a moment as you're worried that your work and scraping against the scales themselves might ruin the gold value if there were to be any.
Okay. Okay. Well, I suppose that I've done what I can. I suppose I'm gonna like leave the bank, meet up with the others, and I suppose I'm just gonna go ask the acolyte. Do you have any injuries? Are you able to perform first aid on yourself?
If you can get me back to the temple, that would be the best.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, of course. We will get you back to the temple. Cassidon, do you mind walking next to the horse? I think it'd be better if this person rode on the back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect. Your compatriot is down on the shoreline if you wish to have other people come to retrieve it, but we don't have the space to be able to properly escort him back.
The acolyte goes, sees the body. It's a couple minutes. They say some short words, and then comes to the horse and says, they'll send someone for a proper funeral.
Of course. And I will offer an arm to help them back onto the back of my horse.
And they hop on, and you begin your trek back as we head here to this lovely little map. As Tavenay and Desmond begin walking the road down from the Bettany estate to the town of Stockies for the next trial. The two of you can see the town in the distance, a little ways away, as you are walking. And it does seem to be, even from afar, it does seem to be rather abuzz with people.
Well, there is the trial. I suppose that in a town like Stockies, that's quite the interesting event. Um, I'll walk towards the town.
All right. Two of you walk towards the town and make your way to the outside. Ooh, hold on. Outside of the tavern. Hopefully, everyone can see here.
Hey, we have a tavern.
Yup.
Hey, that looks great.
The good old dirt floor tavern.
Works for me.
Walking inside, do I kind of see anything unexpected or what the heck? Someone's dead in the back. I see anything unexpected from where I am?
You do not see anything all too unexpected other than maybe the first half orc you've seen in town. The town's only half orc is the one who seems to be sitting accused at the front table. And as you walk in, Honora says, "Oh, welcome. Where's the rest of you?"
Doing some preliminary scouting for our trek to the crabs later today. What's the information on this trial that you can give me?
Well, why don't you take a seat and I'll tell you, pointing to the various seats that she set up, expecting it to be all of you.
I'll take seat, certainly.
She begins to explain to you all and kind of to the room that Partola's Main here owns an outlying goose farm west of the town, and he's never quite liked us locals. The locals here keep him at arm's length, as he's known to skimp on deals and keep whatever livestock wander onto his lands. And it seems that one of his recent arguments with one of the locals has turned violent. We had a report that a family driving their goats by earlier reported seeing Maine here and Urshel Suitor arguing over a mule that had wandered onto Maine's land. And when I went to go investigate, I found Maine trying to bury the body of Suitor. From my quick investigations, Suitor was seemingly killed by a powerful blow to the head.
My.
Do you have any beginning thoughts before we get into his defense?
Well, it seems to be rather open and shut, but I'd like to hear the accused side of the story.
Wait, am I allowed to use magics?
Oh, that's a good question. Is there anything in the town charter or the town's law against such a practice in a trial?
Well, currently the law is whatever you set it to be, but as sheriff, if your magics can get to the bottom of this better and give us a truth, I welcome it.
Very well, then we'll add that to the formal law of trials henceforth will announce if we're using any magic, and we'll record any such use of magic. Other than that, as long as it's in the pursuit of truth and justice, I think it would be wise to utilize our resources.
Indeed.
Before we begin this undertaking and listen to the sides of this legal argument, I gesture a little and call out a bit of a conjuration and use my detect alignment feature. And I'm curious if, and I have this for 30 minutes, it seems. So I can probably have this on the entire time, but I'd like to assess the character of this Artulius Main.
Okay. So 1 round presence or absence of evil, 2 round number of evil auras. And I imagine your cone is directly in front of you towards like this.
Correct.
Okay. 3rd round, power and location of each aura. Okay. You are getting in the direction of the, and you're wanting to do this, you're wanting to keep this up before you go into defense of the accused.
Yes, I would. One, if there is a general case for the individual's character, then that gives credence. But then also, specific acts can overtake general alignment. And so I figured that might be useful if something gets switched up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Continue.
All right. You pass this over Partulus Main. And this is a visual thing. You're actively doing this. This isn't like a subtle thing. As if like if Honora looked over to you.
Oh yeah, I asked about the use of magic. I'm definitely making that show. I'm just not reading out the results to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Of the uninitiated, we're starting with a detect alignment. I leave the results of which to Tavene's discretion.
And Honora would look over at you, Tavene, and ask, are we good to go into defense?
Please do.
All right. She takes her gavel, slams it. Partulus Main, you stand here accused of murder of Urshel Suitor. What is your defense? And he begins with his defense. Well, you see, Suitor's mule wandered into my garden and began eating my crops. I intended to keep the beast over the winter in the turnip's place unless Suitor agreed to pay me 6 gold for the animal, which was well below market price. I have no idea how Suitor ended up on my property, I swear, but I knew, being the only outcast in this town, I'd be blamed for it, so I decided I'd hide the body, yes.
All right, then. To be clear, you're claiming to be innocent in this case, then, correct?
Yes, I do not deny that I tried to hide the body, but I did not kill him.
So,
All right.
what I'm getting from this is that the unattended donkey or mule or whatever you said was taking a bit of a feast on your crops, and your claim is that someone else came along and dispatched of the man before you got there.
Yes, we had an argument over the donkey, yes, but I did not kill him. You tell
So
me
you-
how it would look being the only half-orc in town killing one of the locals.
I understand, but how long were you away from the living victim before returning? If you did not kill the man and you did not see the man get killed, how much time did you spend away?
Well, I went to his farm to offer the donkey back to him, and we had our argument, and then I returned the following day, and that's when I found him. I was hoping that a night's rest would make him miss the beast.
Hmm.
Hmm. Desmond turns to Honora and Tavenay and inquires, do we believe that there's anything to be gleaned from assessing the prices that he put on the animal and the worth he found in his crops? Do you think there's anything to be found there, or should we continue on towards possible criminal investigation?
Nora would say, Maine does speak the truth about his farm, at least. He does grow turnips. He occasionally comes through to trade them. I'm not sure an investigation of the crop would lead anything, but if you want to head into more of the murder investigation, I do have Suitor's body in my back room, as well as the donkey in the side stables.
Oh, well, that would certainly shed some light on the situation here. I believe we should take as much information here from you, Mr. Maine, and from you, Nora, who discovered the body, and we'll see if anything is in contradiction to what we find. But to summarize the points here, and I'll insert some of my personal thoughts here. A donkey wandered onto your property, ate your crops. I believe it's fair to say that you would seek recompense for the lost crops. It is strange to charge for the donkey back, though. I'm unfamiliar with the price of agricultural goods here, but I doubt that however many turnips the donkey could have eaten within the span of a day is worth 6 gold. Before we proceed on to any questioning and cross-examination, Mr. Maine, do you have any explanation as to why you felt compelled to take ownership of the animal?
Well, it was on my land and it was eating my crops. felt only right to keep the beast until I was given, some sort of payback for it.
Well, correct, but the estimate that you came up with was based on the price of the beast rather than the price of the crops that you lost. If one of these townspeople's children were to go onto your land and take a beat and eat it, you wouldn't kidnap the child and hold them for ransom, would you? And do you see where I'm getting at?
Of course not, I'm not a monster, but livestock are different.
All right. We'll keep that in the notes, but that's satisfactory for now. Mr. Main, could you explain the sequence of events that led to Sheriff Honora arriving and catching you trying to bury a body? How do you think it came to that?
Well, I already said, no one in this town cares to visit. I don't like anyone in this town either. And with our relationship, I would assume that I would immediately be blamed, as I said. So I took the initiative and decided to hide the body instead.
That's not an unreasonable thought, but if you could follow my train of thought here, the body must have sat on your property for an indeterminate amount of time, but certainly less than a day, according to your testimony. How is it that, despite being located on the outskirts of the town, Sheriff Honora was tasked to investigate your property when the only other contact you've had is with Urshel? Who could possibly have had reason to task Honora, do you think, to investigate your property?
Honora actually pipes up and says, it was a family here in town who was driving their goats past the property, saw them arguing, and was worried for Urshel's sake and asked me to look into it.
And that doesn't seem strangely timed? What's the current day today? That the days have blurred.
I know it's Saturday.
Perfect. Saturday. So, when was this alleged crime committed? Actually, when was the argument seen by the goat herders? Thursday?
Yeah, about 2 days ago. I've had Mr. Main here in holding for about a day now, preparing the trial.
All right. If they were seen arguing on Thursday, and the family notified you when? Thursday afternoon?
About.
And then you decided to follow up on it the same day.
Well, I've had Mr. Main here in holding for a day now. I decided to wait for morning, as I figured it was just another argument. Someone wandered onto his land. As it's been mentioned before, Mr. Main here doesn't particularly like anyone here in town. And to be quite honest, reports of his attitude happen quite often, so I didn't think to heed any mind into it, urgently at least.
So disagreements occur regularly. That does not make Mr. Main a criminal. It just... So you've been asked to investigate Mr. Main before by locals, it seems.
Mostly, families worried about their children wandering onto his land, the occasional, lost livestock, as mentioned, and, other such, deals being made. But up
Alright.
until today, I would not call Mr. Main a murderer.
Well,
Just a poor businessman.
out of character, June, in Magnamar, was it guilty until proven innocent or innocent until proven guilty?
Christ.
Hey, you're innocent? Straight to the hells. We don't care.
Right?
Always guilty.
Probably a mix, if I'm being completely honest.
Oh, depending on like which of the high judges is overseeing the trial,
Well,
or
if you got a corrupt high judge,
we know there was at least one. Okay, so it kind of depends on the judge.
The judge, the case, the crime.
Okay. That slightly changes my next statement, but that's okay. It was mostly for flavor anyway. The justice system of the city I come from is far from perfect, but I'm hoping I can root out any possibility of a false conviction here. However, I also intend to make sure that all correct convictions take place. Now, I'm just trying to establish a timeline here. If you argued on Thursday, you were brought in on Friday, and you found the body when? Friday morning? I'm guessing?
Nora says, from when I went to check in on him, it was late Friday morning that I saw him attempting to hide the body.
All right. Huh.
Would you like to see the body? Maybe it'll give you more information.
Certainly. But first, Mr. Main, do you have any history wielding weapons at all?
I mean, I farm. You could likely call a hoe or farming tools weapons in the if you truly wish to.
No, I mean in earnest. If you have been a farmer and you've only handled farming implements, then I wouldn't call those weapons. All right. Right. We'll keep that in mind when we're investigating the body. If you'll excuse us for just a moment.
Nora would stand up and go past the bar and says, "Follow me." Takes out a key, unlocks the door, leads you to her little back room and to the body.
All right. First obvious questions here. What are the markings? Clearly there's going to be like dirt, but beyond that, what can we see?
Would you like to give me a heal check if you got it?
Sure. Okay. A 12.
12.
Allocating skill ranks with a 10 intelligence is a little difficult.
You can see that his head certainly seems cracked open. But you can't really glean from what by.
I think I would also like to make a healing check to investigate the body.
Sure.
Sorry, my dog just tore up our backyard and I'm kind of distracted. Heal.
16 reveals to you that he definitely died from a blow to the head with something round. Likely, you could guesstimate maybe a club or a mace type of weapon.
Okay. Could I get the height of both Mr. Main and Urshel? Are they relatively close in height, or is one significantly taller?
I'll say, yeah, Mr. Urshel is about maybe like 5'6", and Partala's Mane is closer to 6 foot.
Okay. I don't know how I would describe this. I guess I'm trying to determine the angle at which the head was hit, like whether it's from the back, whether it's from the top or the side, you know?
Mm-hmm. I would say with the 16, it seems to be like a direct blow. Like, almost as if something connected with the forehead.
Oh, right, but like the location of the strike where the head collapsed in.
Seems to be like a direct on.
Oh, like straight on the forehead.
Yeah, like direct on.
I'm getting the hunch that something really strange went on. Honora, do you know, has an investigation been performed on Mr. Main's property? He's a farmer. Do round blunted weapons like cudgels, clubs, or a mace, perhaps?
I haven't had the full time to investigate his property, as I've been here in town getting the case ready for all of you.
All right. I'm going to go check the animal. I'm not sure what I'll find, but perhaps reviewing all the items in this case will yield us some information.
Sure. They're around back. I'll stay with Mr. Main while you investigate. She walks back out into the front.
So we're sure with the body, it basically the impact needed to be a weapon. This could not have come from even an admittedly
missed attack. It certainly does seem to be weapon blow. Okay. Desmond, you see the donkey in a little pen with hay in it, makeshift stables that once held Anna's horse.
Okay. Could I kind of see if there's anything strange about the mule?
Sure you can. If you have handle animal, you certainly can.
Well, I suppose I could make that untrained. Doesn't hurt. Okay, well, at least it doesn't kick me in the face.
It's hard to get anything from the donkey.
Okay, then I will try one thing. Since this is relatively recent, I'm wondering if there would be perhaps traces of blood, and I would like to use my hydrokinesis to pull even a single drop of blood that's on the fur of this animal, if such a thing exists.
Interesting. Okay, sure. So you're wanting to waterbend any blood off of the donkey, if there is any?
Yes.
Okay. Alright. I'll go along with this. I know you described what you want to do, but paint me the visual.
Okay, yeah, it won't cooperate with me, like, kind of brushing through its fur and everything like that. It won't let me kind of look behind its head or, like, stay still long enough for me to, like, get a good angle on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small step back and kind of just extend my hands over it. And I guess it'll feel like a very cool gust of air just wrapping around it, and I'm hoping that that's common such that it doesn't really startle anything, and you would just see this small ring of mist kind of blow over its body, spinning the entire way down.
Okay. The donkey does seem to be a bit skitterish at this. But the pen seems to keep it pretty stable as it is locked. And as you kind of do this gust and begin doing this little whirlwind, you do get a not significant amount of blood.
That's interesting. How would this blood have gotten on you, my masterless friend?
Do you want to roll me a perception?
Yeah, I'll roll a perception if you're asking me to roll a perception.
Yeah, just for funsies.
Alright, 17.
You gotta get better than that. I gotta start just letting you decide. But this one's for funsies. You say this is a freebie. You would have whipped up the blood from around its hoof.
Oh, okay. That's definitely right. I'll keep that information to myself until I get inside with Danae, and like I'll at least let Octavian in on it, so that we kind of have a synchronized but general plan interrogation going forward to like maybe catch Maine on an impossibility.
Okay.
I think Desmond would free. Goodness gracious, I gotta get water. Desmond would freeze the sample of blood and kind of just keep it up his sleeve.
All right.
And then to meet the requirements that he set forth in the beginning of the trial, he's going to conjure some water and let the donkey drink it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do so.
Okay. That said, Desmond's going to head back inside and state, for the record, I used some hydrokinetic magic to interact with the donkey so that I may investigate it. It lapped up the water happily.
Nora would say, understood. Do we have any new evidence for the case of Maine murdering Mr. Suter?
Yes, did you donkey excursion heed useful information?
Actually, yeah. Nora can kind of get in on this as well. But I'm kind of just huddled over and I'm going to deliberate with them. I found this blood from the hooves of the donkey. We can continue our interrogation, but eventually something will have to give. Mr. Maine may very well be guilty if it is found that he claims he kept the donkey for a full day before going back to Herschel's residence, because then there would be no feasible way for the blood to get on the hooves. Shall we cross-examine the defendant one more time?
I wonder if it would be possible that Mr. Suter tried to get the donkey back himself.
It's possible.
Herschel was presumably found on Maine's land, was he not?
He was, which adds to a few questions, but there is one more thing I would like to check. Desmond would like to go to the back with the body again and see if the indentation on the skull is shaped like possibly hooves, because those are kind of roundish as well, and I think a donkey that kicks you could certainly kill you if it really wanted to.
I will give you another heal if you'd like, with a let's call it a lovely little +2 bonus because of the circumstance.
I like it. Okay, so it'll be this number +2. I was thinking it's 25.
25. As you go back to re-examine the body, what originally looked like a club or mace blow reveals instead the wound in a more hoof-shaped pattern than weapon-shaped.
That actually makes me a great deal happy. And I should be unbiased, but wolf. If you can believe it.
Understood.
So the man was killed by his own beast. That would lay more credence to possibly him trying to get the animal off of Mr. Main's land. Perhaps he was distressed not being in a place it was used to.
Correct. Now, let's continue with the questioning. On Friday morning, let's question Mr. Main some more, and perhaps set a full storyline for
Of course.
the court.
Mr. Mean, how well do you sleep?
I'd say fairly well. I get by.
Say a storm picks up very nearby, raucous thunder. Would you awake easily?
Well, I'd be worried about my geese. So I'd likely be up to bring them in.
Let's say this occurs in the wee hours of the night after you've made your bed. Would you awake? Or are you a sound sleeper?
Well, sometimes I have to be a rather light sleeper just to keep an eye out on my geese. And occasionally, I do have to fend off the wild dog here or two, but I'd say a storm wouldn't bother me too much.
Mr. Main, could you describe for us the behavior of the mule or the donkey after you took custody of it?
Well, I found it eating my turnips, and so I led it into my little stables that I do have. That damn beast definitely did not want to cooperate with me, considering it was eating my turnips.
So, perhaps at least a little agitated because you took away its food.
I don't know. Yes, I would say so.
And, Sheriff Honora, bringing the animal here, was it still agitated?
Oh, well, it certainly was as stubborn as they say they are.
All right.
I took it upon two of the locals to assist bringing it back. I couldn't bring it back myself, as I was busy taking Maine in, but...
All right.
It certainly didn't seem agreeable.
Now, this last part's important, Mr. Main, and it would be in your best interest to tell us the truth in as much detail as you can muster. Please describe to us the events of Friday morning, starting from when you awoke and finishing when Sheriff Honora brought you to town, please.
All right. I woke in the morning, had some breakfast. I went to check up on my geese and make sure they were properly fed, which is when I took a walk over to Mr. Suter's house to once again ask him or tell him about my offer. 6 gold for his donkey back. I knocked on his door a few times. I called for him. I figured the old man was just refusing to play. And so I said, screw him. I walked back. I went to go check on the donkey. That is when I found Suter's body on my property. And I decided to, well, hide him. And that's when Sheriff Renora came upon me and brought me to town.
So, when you say you found the body on your property, it seems to be the implication that you found the body near the stables of your property where you were keeping the donkey. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right. Desmond looks at Tavene and Honora and kind of looks for a sign of, hey, we kind of know what happened here.
The more that Maine talks about this, by the way, you can see the crowd in the tavern getting rather rowdy and irate over him attempting to profess innocence.
That's fair, and I've got people skills. Tavene certainly has people skills of a unique kind. But we'll deal with that when we deal with it. For now, Desmond looks for a sign of recognition of what has transpired.
Honora gives you a look and whispers over to you and says, well, it certainly doesn't sound like Mr. Maine here is the murdering type. I wouldn't put it past a disgruntled animal, even against its owner, to lash out in the right circumstances.
Of course. And
if you would glance towards my direction, I wouldn't face you. I would still be watching the crowd, but you would see you would see my eyebrow raise sort of knowingly, partly because I know you're looking at me, but also because I am mostly in agreement with you.
Okay. Well then, before we announce our verdict, I have a small favor to ask of the townspeople here. I am aware that most of you would be working at the pump house or very near there, but how many of you handle animals on a regular basis?
You see maybe 1 or 2 people raise their hand, maybe a bit more than that. Just a few people in the back at a couple of the tables. As this town, I believe, did used to be, livestock is the occasional trade that they deal in.
Right. And it would make sense that there would be some people familiar with cattle and adjacent animals. And we can RP this or we can summarize it, but Desmond's intention here is to question them if their animals have ever gotten a little rowdy and what that would entail. And he would bring them to the back to where the donkey is and kind of familiarize them with the animal's already agitated temperament. If I need to make a deception or diplomacy check to kind of sway him into thinking, okay, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to handle this animal personally.
Give me a diplomacy.
Okay. Ooh, that's a solid diplomacy.
You get, a couple people to check out the donkey. Some of them do deal in things like, cattle, and they say, when we have an animal acting up, we try and herd it or leave it be. And
Right.
you do get some of these people are definitely they aren't really trying to hide it, so I don't think a sense motive would be needed, because a few of these people are definitely like anti Artolla's Mane. They definitely say, oh, of course any animal on his property would, blah 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 blah. He's such a mean man. Of course his animals would be mean. Of course any the donkey would act like this.
Of course. If he is a mean man, which remains to be proven legally, I'm not opposed to investigating his character. However, if you would follow me, the subject matter experts, as well as volunteers from the audience, as long as you don't disturb the body, please follow me to the back room. And I'm going to point out the imprint to the subject matter experts and ask them, does that not seem to match the hoof print of the donkey?
I think in this case of bringing people back to the body, you'd probably only get like one person, as Honora does personally say, within the past couple of days, there have been a lot of death in town. Let's, not subject more people to this.
All right, then I will take the most agreeable subject matter expert in animal handling with me to the back, and say, I apologize for exposing you to more death, but I do need another opinion, and I'll show him the indent and see if my logical derivation here makes sense to him.
Mm-hmm. Sure, you get an older man back there, and he looks at it, and he says, after maybe being taken aback by the cracked skull, he does say, I don't know about a donkey, but it certainly looks like a hoof print to me. I've worked with cattle and the like, and it certainly seems it.
Right. All right, thank you. Please stand by next to Tevene and Honora as I pass the council's verdict. People of Stockies, I am not here to parent your relationships with one another. I am here in the interests of the growth of the town, and with that in mind, I'm prepared to state, even if it isn't what you may be looking for, the truth. And we have very much evidence to support this. Partulus Mane got into a disagreement with Urshel on Thursday. As it has happened many times before, a concerned passerby reported this behavior to Honora. That evening, perhaps, or even early Friday morning, following Maine's testimony, Urshel attempted to take the donkey back. And as our subject matter experts would tell you, if you're going to attempt to aggressively pull an animal back to your property, that's not always going to end well. The bludgeoning damage that was found upon Urshel's head matches, in totality, along with a sample of blood upon the donkey's hoof, which leads me to believe that Partulus Main did not kill Urshel in this trial, which means that beyond the shadow of a doubt, from what I could see, that Partulus Main is innocent. Now,
Give me a diplomacy as the crowd begin to get riled up and shouting of, favoritism and special treatment.
okay. Oh, that's not great.
You see several of the people in the tavern are rather upset at the seemingly decision of innocence of Partulus Main, and a fair chunk of the crowd begin walking out in annoyance or disgust. Some look at Partulus and just wave off their hand at him as they walk out.
I look to the subject matter experts and I say, now, regardless of your relationships with Partulus Main, in all honesty, do you think the truth was conveyed here?
Yes. I would possibly say so.
And before I let you go about your day, and we about ours, is that not what should happen here? Or should the majority determine the course of action based off their personal feelings? Do you think that's how the town would want all the trials, even the ones including them in it, to be judged?
You're the new tribunes of the town. I'm not to say.
I'm taking your word as a peer. I'm not appearing to you right now as a superior. Merely someone who wants no more lies to hurt
This
people.
person. Being an older citizen, I think he would give you an answer of mix. He would say, town justice is nice, but it'll only get us so far, and so it's nice to have, judgment again from people who actually care about the town.
All right. Thank you for your wisdom.
Turns around and walks out, and Honora looks at you and looks at Tavene and says, well, then I believe it's been decided. slams her gavel down. Congratulations, Mr. Maine. You are dismissed and are proven innocent of the murder of Urshel Suter.
Making sure to be loud enough and clear enough to be heard by the remaining citizens, I say, Mr. Maine, whereabouts in this town is your farm located? It seems you do not have a whole lot of favorability within this town, and I'd like to check up on you in the future.
The west of town.
Understood.
How do you feel, Mr. Maine?
Well, I feel good knowing that I'm, proven innocent, as I said I was. It's a shame someone had to die for it, over a beast, but this happened.
Mr. Maine, the trade goods of this town are somewhat reliant upon geese and livestock, and I believe losing your business would hurt the town. So, I'll be frank, I'm speaking again from a science point of view. We can figure out some sort of partnership or deal so that your goods may get to town without being negatively impacted by the results of this trial. Would you be agreeable to such attempts or economic mechanisms?
He kind of says in a rather matter-of-fact tone, oh, I don't care what these locals think. I'm going to continue selling my goods here or elsewhere. They can choose to buy it or not. I will find someone to sell to.
That's
won't be anything new.
That's quite stoic of you. Kind of reminds me of my father, a little bit. I do believe it was a small fault personally, but just know that establishing partnerships and relationships is the foundation of growing your business. If you forge enough trade agreements, perhaps you could become a little bit more prosperous and maybe find a farm that is a little farther away from disagreeable people who don't like you. Now, I'm not telling you to move away, but merely that perhaps a change of scenery would make you happier.
Yes, well, I'll keep that in mind. He gets up and begins walking out of the tavern.
One more thing. Desmond says, running out the door. But you happen to know if the donkey has a name?
I didn't care enough to learn it.
All right. Well, I think I'll name it Bullet.
Certainly an interesting title, I suppose.
I don't know. Just feels like a bullet to me. Shall we get going, Tiffany? I believe our companions are waiting for us.
Yes. I need to grab my things for the journey.
Nora walks over and says, so, how about your second trial? How do you think it fared?
I find your proceedings quite interesting.
It's a trial. There's going to be people who are mad at it, and people who are happy with the result. Is it just one of those rougher days, it seems?
Indeed. Now, only to figure out what we'll do with poor Chauncey in the stables. Normally, I'd offer another farmer to take him off our hands, but as he's rather, well, behind the quote-unquote murder of Mr. Suitor, it's more than likely that we'll put down the donkey, unless you have other thoughts.
Yeah, I think he lost it.
We can find somebody to take care of the donkey, I'm sure.
All right. Well, in the meantime, I'll keep him in the stables. If you find someone, do tell.
All right, where to from, Dungeon Master?
Where do you want to go?
Well, I need to go back to the Bettany estate to grab my things for our journey.
Yes, as discussed before. So I think
Oh.
that's a good first stop.
All right. You
And
begin
sure to go.
Oh.
your way to the Bettany estate. We'll say about a half day's time has passed. And the question for Cassid and Anna, are you going to go through directly to Loatheater? Are you going to spend what would essentially be, we'll move here, likely a 2.5 days journey, or are you making a pit stop at the Bettany estate?
Most like, what were the routes that you were thinking we might take?
Well, you're currently along the highway.
Right.
So are you, and you guys are going directly back. Are you going through and stopping at Bettany Estate, or are you working your way directly to Loatheater to drop off the acolytes?
Most likely, I think we would just stop by the Bettany estate, just see if the other two are ready, or, I think that would probably be our first move. Just sort of to report in, like, what happened.
Okay. So, you begin making your way to the Bettany estate. The light of the day begins to get a little darker, and eventually you will get back to the estate with Tavenay and Desmond already inside. But I think, for the sake of a dog, we'll call it a bit early here.
Appreciate it.
And get onto the road to the Crab residence in session 29. We are almost at 30.
Woo!
Yay!
Great game as always. Glad we got through the trial. Found a man innocent instead of being guilty. Able to save an acolyte. Wasn't prepared for that. But for now, everybody say goodbye to YouTube.
Goodbye,
YouTube.
YouTube.
Bye, YouTube. Happy dungeon delving, everyone. And pie.
As always, good pie and stay sweet, y'all.
Yeah.